Let's talk about Hurricane Ian and
Mm-hmm.
the state of Florida. You know, we had spoke to Dr. Jamie Ellis previously on this.
And he's still to come. We're going to have that interview here in just a few moments. He's with the University of Florida.
Yep. And he and his entomology group were trying to figure out what the impact was on colony loss. Well, a couple of things that we have to take in consideration is a lot of commercial beekeepers go to Florida to overwinter their bees. So it's a warmer area. They don't have to worry about frost freeze issues down there. And they break their colonies down to just a deep box with a outer cover and put it on pallets. So if you look at something like that, there, a pallet's only 4 inches off the ground. So with significant
the
water coming from Hurricane Ian, you're going to have flooding out. And those flooding outs have really affected the commercial beekeepers.
So let's see if I can use a big word here. I have a limited vocabulary. What does that portend for this next year with regards to buying and selling bees? Will there be a lot of people trying to replace lost colonies, or what are you as a business owner that sells packaged bees?
The number that we're hearing out of Florida is at least 100,000 hives were affected by Hurricane Ian. Now, those would be commercial and backyard beekeepers. Now, the commercial guys, they've got to fulfill contracts out in California with the almonds. So normally what happens is in January, the bees are trucked from Florida all the way out to California to pollinate the almonds.
Okay.
And so they have contracts there. And my best guesstimate on this is that there's going to be a shortage on bees to go out and pollinate. And I see some of the highest prices per month being paid for beekeepers to bring in their bees to pollinate the bees, not pollinate the almonds. So
are you saying I need to run to the store and stock up on my almonds now before the price shoots up because of...
Buy your almonds now. You know, the other thing, Brian, is the almond growers out there have an issue with water restrictions in California. So they're having to cut back on their orchards out there. And so this is a deadly collision that's happening between water restrictions and lack of bees to go out and pollinate this new crop for this year. So then the ramifications even go further, is those bees are normally very robust and they can start doing splits at that point and multiplying their hives out. Well, that works its way into the Texas area and even back into the Florida and Gulf of Mexico area where backyard beekeepers get their splits and start their bees. So that won't be happening because the commercial guys have got to up their stock back to where they were. So there's going to be some shortages this season. How much, I do not know. But we will see prices elevated across the board going into January and a lack of bees because of that price elevation on that side. That's what's causing the price elevation on that there.
For somebody watching tonight, I know a lot of people that do watch Buzz TV or people that have bought bees from Mountain Sweet Honey in the past. Are you recommending any changes in buying habits or getting orders in early as opposed to later? I know it's a lot of unknowns, but what advice do you have for somebody who's thinking that way?
Our inventories right now are very rock solid. So order your bees now. I can't tell you what tomorrow brings or the next hour because we could have some of these commercial guys roll in and say, hey, I need 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 packages of bees because they have these orders they have to fulfill out with
Right, because they have the
almonds.
contracts to go and do work for these folks out
Yes.
west.
So, it just really, and I saw Jeremy Ham with Old Florida Bee Company. He was saying, Brian, that, all the vegetation that had pollen and nectar for this time of the year in Florida is basically gone because the winds just ripped all the
I can see that.
foliage off from whatever plant. And so, the interview that he was given was, hey, I've got to feed my bees or let them starve. And he's going through a gallon a week, roughly a week.
Of sugar
per
water?
hive, yeah. Sugar water, 1-to-1 sugar water down there. And so, it really, when you start figuring the cost of sugar versus replacing those bees, somewhere that balance is, hey, I hope they survive, but I can't be feeding them like I'm supposed to. And maybe it's more sporadic. Instead of every week, it's every other week, and just trying to nurse them through. But even at that, you have a cost issue that you've got that's running right into you of saying, hey, how do I keep my bees, or do I just let them forage on their own and hope that they make it?
I didn't know that this was going to turn into the ag report.
Yeah,
I wish we had some cheerier news. Maybe when we do our next broadcast, we could have some happy bee news, because
Yes,
I know just with everything in the world, I need happy news, not gloom and doom.
Well, Brian, the thing is with this is that we're trying to make everybody informed and to make an informed decision. The last thing I would hate to have somebody saying, hey, I'll order my bees in February, and all the great dates are gone.
Let me put you on the spot for a second. If somebody has already ordered bees and they've, I assume, have paid for them or whatever that process is that price locked in for them and resistant to market fluctuations?
That's right.
But if you haven't ordered your bees, and with everything that Ray has just shared, then you don't know, there could be a price increase, there could be a shortage. So it does sound like the recommendation is, if you know that you need bees, go ahead and lock those in as soon as you can.
Buy now to get the best dates and the best prices.